They are so easy to keep you in the present, yet not necessarily skillful. It depends what emotion. I already said fear can keep you in the present moment. Anger, you can sit for hours with anger and you don't feel any pain whatsoever. There was one monk, he's quite well known, doesn't live with me, but he had to sit 2-hour meditation every morning in the monastery he trained in Thailand. And it was always a pain and always a struggle to sit for 2 hours. And one day, instead of watching his breath or letting go, he decided to think a sexual fantasy for 2 hours. And the 2 hours went by so quickly without any pain. He was very focused. But his teacher could read minds. And as soon as the bell went, he thought, I'm in big trouble now. And sure enough, the teacher strode right up towards him. He was so afraid and embarrassed. But the teacher just gave some good advice. He said, you've just been wasting your time. Instead of scolding, he just told it as it is. You're wasting your time. So, yes, if you think lustful emotions, angry emotions, fearful emotions, it's easy to be with that object, but it's not useful. The other emotions like joy, inspiration, happiness, compassion, those emotions, yes, use those. So inspire yourself. Imagine how many people will probably sit in the seat you're sitting in and got jhanas before. If not now, in the future. And you're on that seat right now. That's why we call this Jhana Grove. So that may be you in the future. You get inspired. You're following in the footsteps of the Buddha. You're hearing great teachings. You're really inspired. And inspiration really helps. So I try and inspire myself often. And I think, wow, what a great thing we're doing here. And just how much work. And sometimes even the floor you're sitting on, which side? I think on that side over there, it was laid by monks at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So all you hear, monks were working right throughout the night till 3-4 o'clock in the morning on the floor you're sitting on there. So that is holy floor. So you should get lots of effort and inspiration out of that. So inspiration is really, really good. So the positive emotions, yes, you can use those. Joy, generosity, kindness, inspiration, they're great to use. Well, the negative emotions are a waste of time. I can hear silence within sounds. Yay. Okay. Can you hear the silence in my sound? Very good. Okay, very good. Please, Ajahn Brahm, will you explain the benefits of chanting to modern Buddhists? I understand the Buddha taught meditation as a means to enlightenment and chanting as a means to remembering the teachings before they were available in written form. And I don't think the Buddha ever asked to be worshipped, so why do Buddhists chant prayers? One thing we do that for is because you're not supposed to speak, you're supposed to keep silent. If after 9 days you didn't exercise your vocal cords at all, you'll be in big trouble when you leave. So this is just a little bit of exercise of your vocal cords so that you don't lose them when you actually leave here. That's number one. Number two, if people just meditated, especially in the early morning at sort of 6 o'clock, they'd fall asleep. At least when you do, Yo So Bhagawa, at least everybody wakes up. So that's another benefit of the chanting. And number three, in the evening, our chanting is always out of tune. It's always very bad. So the chanting is also, you can understand why. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand the why, that the chanting scares away bad spirits. Actually, good spirits as well. All spirits, they run away when they hear my chanting. And, oh, God, not that again. It's worse than karaoke. So those are some of the reasons why we do the chanting. And the last reason why we do the chanting is because it's for no reason at all. Why do you always have to do things for a reason? It's nice to do things with absolutely no purpose at all. So that's the last one, and that's very profound. Dear Ajahn, How do we face unkind people or those pretend to be good people? I met those people I usually meet in work or in real life. Easy, don't go back to work, ordain as a monk or a nun, and stay here. It's an obvious solution. But if you have to work with unkind people, don't face them, turn around. That's what I meant. But really, to be serious, if they're unkind to you, they're unkind to themselves. And as one wise person said a long time ago, I've forgotten who, you only have to endure them for maybe 8 hours a day, or 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. They have to endure themselves 7 days a week, 24 hours a day for the rest of their life. It must be a pain to live with themselves if that's how they treat you. And when you think like that, it gives you so much compassion. You know, these people who just get so unkind, it must be a terrible life they're living. You know, when you're kind to others, when you have fun, isn't it a beautiful life when you're kind? When I'm kind to you, I have fun. If I'm kind to you, it's totally selfish. Because I enjoy being kind. I enjoy letting go. So really, it's really quite a lot of an attachment, letting go. No, I'm only joking. It can't be. So when you're unkind, it really hurts. I gave a talk the other day in Nolamar about right speech, and I said, whenever you say wrong speech to someone, cruel speech, it actually depresses you. You know, you get the karmic response straight away. If you shout at someone, curse them, get negative towards them, it really hurts you. It brings you down. That's one of the reasons why people are depressed in this world, because they always say cruel and critical things to other people. If you change your speech and just always praise people, be kind to them, smile at them, whether it affects other people or not, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It usually does, but it certainly affects you. When I praise somebody, I feel good. When I criticize, I just lose my energy. And understanding that right speech, if it really is right speech and good speech to others, you get a big boost yourself. So if you meet an unkind person, imagine they must have such low energy. They must be living in such a black space. Be compassionate towards them. And don't give unkindness back, otherwise you get dragged down to their level. So that's actually how you usually meet them in work and real life. You just feel compassion towards them and always say nice things towards them. Dear Ajahn, I am stupid. Yeah, me too. Welcome to the Stupid Retreat. Stupid Grove Meditation Retreat. I always can't react immediately, even in a positive and lovely environment. For example, hi, I am good. Or else I can't react to say no when I do not like to do something. Sometimes it causes a lot of misunderstanding between myself and other people. How can I forgive myself to be stupid, too slow, or sometimes mind is blank? Thanks, Ajahn. Your mind is blank. Brilliant. You're peaceful. You're still. Amazing. Stupid people usually get to jhanas much quicker than intelligent ones. It's true. That story I love telling on retreats about this boy. He went to grade 1 in Thai school. And after 1 year, in grade 1, his teacher had to fail him and send him to repeat grade 1. Now that is really just, way up there with stupidity. I don't know what he failed, whether it was plasticine or drawing with crayons or whatever, but he didn't pass. All his friends went up to grade 2, he had to repeat grade 1. After another year in grade 1, he failed again. So they gave him one more chance. After 3 years in grade 1 primary school, the teachers, with the best will in the world, they just couldn't get him up to grade 2. So they had to leave school. Now, a lot of people, they leave school at grade 10 or grade 12, but imagine being kicked out after grade 1. 3 times you try grade 1 and you can't pass. Now, that's a Guinness Book of Records type stupidity. So, what did they do to someone so stupid? His family thought, you can't even sort of know one end, the front end and the back end of a water buffalo. So, a waste of time getting him on the farm. So what do they do with people who are that stupid? They ordain them as novices. But not all novices started out that way. So they ordained him a novice in the village monastery, and the abbot was just so kind to him, so patient, much more patient than school teachers. I was trying to teach him the chanting, just simple chanting like Namo Tassa. What was that second word again? Namo. Oh yeah, Tassa. What was the first word? His mind was so blank he couldn't even remember Namo Tassa, let alone all the other chants we have to do. After 3 years, even the abbot gave up on him and said, look, you're just so dumb. So what do you think they did? The last resort, they sent this ignoramus, stupid guy to the forest monasteries where I come from. Because he couldn't chant or couldn't study, so they taught him some meditation. Just watch your breath go in and out. And his mind was so clear and so simple. He could do that for hours. Got into jhanas, became enlightened, fully enlightened, and became a famous monk. And he said the only way that I forget actually who this monk was, a long time ago, the only way he could actually chant in ceremonies, because of his deep meditation and psychic powers, he remembered a previous life when he was a monk before. And he'd always go back to that life when he did know the chanting, to chant in this life, if you get what I mean. And that's the only way you could actually chant. But there was a guy who's totally stupid. So if that's you, you have a lot of potential. So whoever's this, yeah, you can do some really good samadhi. I find I sometimes wonder while I'm watching my breath, if I shouldn't be doing something else like body awareness, vipassana, is it recommended to switch from one to the other or just stay with one at the same time? No, it doesn't matter. Vipassana, samatha, it's all the same. Anapanasati, breath meditation, letting go, loving kindness meditation, metta meditation, it's all the same. It's just letting go. It's just getting the water to be still in the lake. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. So if you're wandering, remember what we said about that little girl, goes in the elevator, bye-bye, pack the mind's bag, give it a $20 note and let it wander off. It won't go far, and then it'll come back to you again. So be kind. If you're a kind person, no one wants to leave you. So that means that the mind won't want to leave. So the way to overcome the wandering mind is develop more contentment and happiness in the moment. And then you just don't want to wander. I'm just having too good a time. Why should I leave? So just changing the meditation stuff. You do vipassana, then you wander off again. Then you do loving kindness, you keep wandering off again. The way to overcome the wandering mind is, look, why do you wander off? Because of discontent. You're not happy here. You want to be somewhere else. You want to think somewhere else. You want to dream something else because you're not really happy right here. When you develop the appreciation of the present moment, you really open the door of your heart to this moment. It becomes beautiful. It's not this present moment is beautiful or ugly. It's just what you add on to this present moment makes it enjoyable or makes it ugly. What you add on to it. So when you add on this beautiful kindness, the present moment is very kind back. I smile at you, you smile back. I smile at the present moment smiles back, and it's beautiful. So we hang out together. I growl at the present moment, and people run away. So I growl at this present moment, the present moment runs away, and I'm off wandering again. So in all the time in meditation, don't just try and control things and bring the mind back here and stop this or change the object. Use your wisdom power. Why does the mind wander off? Why? What's the cause of that? And you soon figure out it's because you're not happy. There's not enough joy in the moment. You can try what I said this morning. Smile when you're watching the breath, and then the breath is much easier to watch. Today, my pet dog passed away at 1:05. She'll be cremated this afternoon. Did you bring your dog on the retreat? I thought I heard some growling. No, you must have got an SMS or an email, so you're checking your emails during the retreat? Bad meditation. Okay, no. So your pet dog passed away at 1:05. She would be cremated this afternoon. She has been living with my family for 12 years and has been like one of us. Can we dedicate our practice today to her? Can I put her remains on my Buddhist altar? Thanks. Yeah, of course you can. No, like dogs are very nice. They've been with you for 12 years, but they teach you a lot of lessons. They teach you unconditional love, which is wonderful to have that unconditional love. They also teach you that they never complain. They don't need a cup of coffee to be happy. When they wake up in the morning, they're happy straight away without having coffee. You can even sort of scold them and shout at them when you're unhappy, and they still wag their tail. Can you do that when your boss scolds you and shouts at you, still wag your tail? There's a lot you can learn from little dogs. And also, the dogs eat anything. They don't choose what they eat. Anything you put down there, they're just vacuum cleaners, dogs. So they just suck up everything as much as you want to give them. So remember, just the Dhamma, the dog Dhamma, the teachings of your dog. How unconditional love, doesn't sort of really complain, doesn't need all these other things to be happy. Very, very nice teacher. So when somebody passes away, you celebrate their life, you don't mourn their death, and just remember all the great teachings they taught you, and see if you can learn from them and become a better person as a result of your lovely dog's life. Hope you don't mind me, this is very good. Hope you don't mind me asking a controversial question. I love controversial questions. We had, actually, he's not here today. There's one guy who always used to ask controversial questions. I think one of the best ones, what was it? Is gay, transsexual, mud wrestlers, can they get enlightened? Or something like that. I forget what it was. It's really a ridiculous question. But anyway, hope you don't mind asking, did the Buddha expound the Mahayana Sutras, e.g. Lotus Sutra, Diamond Sutra? Do the other Buddhas, e.g. Amitabha Buddha, exist? What are our views on Pure Land practice? Does it bring us to Nibbana? Thanks, Ajahn, with metta. The Pure Land is otherwise known as the Western Paradise. This is the Western Paradise. Welcome to the Pure Land of Jhana Grove. Now, of course, those things don't exist. The Buddha never expanded the Mahayana Sutras. They were written by monks afterwards. But does that really matter? If it's good teachings, you follow them. But it's not official, authentic Buddha's teachings. But if they make sense, you want to follow them, great. So Amitabha, you know what Amitabha means? It means unlimited radiance. Have you ever experienced Amitabha? If you get into the nimittas, sometimes those lights are just unlimited radiance, incredibly powerful. Now you've experienced the Amitabha nimitta, unlimited radiance. Wow. And then you're getting somewhere. So instead of just chanting, Amitofa, 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 that doesn't really get you anywhere. But if you actually do some meditation, that really gets you a long, long way. Next question. After page 2, where's page 1? Oh, crikey. Please do not write essays, just little questions, please. Okay. Dear Ajahn, after following the Rolls-Royce method, I became very still. Since the effort was a quiet one, I began to notice a block, a small tense knot, which was full of control. This contrasted more and more with the quiet, but I did notice that this tension seems to quietly pervade everything in the mind. Using kindfulness, I allowed it to be seen, but the more I saw it, the more immovable it felt. Finally, realized I was getting caught up in it, controlling mechanism, I left the meditation. Please comment for further guidance. After writing on the first page, I went and sat. It was still once again. Once again, I noticed a controlling. This time I saw that it was telling me that this is as far as I could go. Any further was scary and beyond me and too good for me. I ignored this. I tried to include this sankhara and be kind. My breath appeared in patches. I noticed this doubt and fear infected my experience of the breath. But I did not give up on kindness and also letting my mind decide what it wanted. I'd be so grateful for any further comment. Thank you so much. You're doing well. That's the only way that sometimes I remember telling you that you get, when you let go, this part of you is disappearing, which you haven't done before. So, number one, you're letting go of control, one of the scariest things that a human being can do. So you need some inspiration, some faith from a monk like me who says, no, I've been there, done that. It's fine, it's wonderful. This is what's supposed to happen. I can also say you're in good company. If you read the sutras, the Buddha was afraid of such letting go. Until he said, why am I afraid of such a pleasure? And then he went for it, became enlightened. So you're in good company. The fear is something which often comes up in the meditation. And the only way to overcome it is just go a little bit further. It's a simile of the child who's only just learnt to walk on solid land, and then his mother takes him to a swimming pool. And imagine how scary a swimming pool would be to a young child. And you can't just throw the child in the water and drown the thing, although sometimes mothers think that might be a good idea, but they shouldn't do that. It's just that you just let the child just put one toe in first of all, and you take it out straight away. It does not hurt. So you put a foot in next time. That was fun. Then you put a whole leg in. That is wonderful. And then maybe both legs in, sitting on the side. That feels good. And then only after, little by little, you've gone a little bit further, then the whole body can go, and the kid jumps in the pool. And once the kid's in the swimming pool, the mother can't get it out again because it's having too much fun. That is just like the deep meditations. At first, you just put a toe in and you come back out. Oh, that's scary, but it's nice. Then you put the foot in. Oh, that's really good. I don't know about if this is really good. It feels good. Then you put the whole leg in. And soon you jump all the way in and you stay in meditation for hours and hours and hours, and no one can get you out. So that's actually what happens. That's actually how you overcome this fear. And of course it is. The fear is the result of the controller. And the fear is letting the controller go. You say, oh my God, what would happen? If I don't control it anymore, will I be safe? What will happen? I'll tell you what will happen. You will become enlightened. You will get jhanas. Isn't that what you want? So let go of this controller. So you're doing well. Kindfulness is the best way of doing it. Just go a little bit deeper, see what it feels like. You can come back again. And little by little you go deeper and deeper. And that little scary sort of ball and knot of controller which you noticed, it will get less and less as it just gives up. It will stop you. It won't stop you anymore. Dear Ajahn Brahm, as a Buddhist monk, is there anything you don't let go? Of course, I don't let... I'm being gross. I shouldn't say so. I don't get go of my urine and my other stuff when I'm sitting here. I go to the proper place to let go. I don't let go of my precepts. It's just like people say you should always let go and you never be attached. I say, if you are sitting on the back of a motorbike, please hang on. Please be attached. Do not let go. If you are on top of a ladder, don't let go. There's many places where you don't let go. So there are times when it's time to do your duty. When actually you're not meditating, then actually you put forth a lot of effort into what you're doing. And then when it comes to meditate, now's the time to let go totally. How can I be more grateful? I feel grateful, but I feel I should be more grateful. Be grateful for not feeling so grateful. At least you're a little bit grateful. On the first retreat I did, I felt extremely grateful. The whole time it seemed to arise spontaneously, and I even felt it in my body. How come I'm not feeling it as much this time? I don't know. So be grateful that you're a little bit grateful. So don't be ungrateful that you're not feeling grateful. You're an ungrateful person. I don't know. If a person cannot feel the energy, what does it mean? They're dead. Everyone can feel some energy. Could you please give us some tips or instructions on how to let go? We really don't know how. Oh, I've been teaching for 4 days. How to let go. No, you want some tips on how to let go? Just let go, for goodness sake. Oh, I'm depressed. Now, one good way of letting go is understand the difference between being in prison and being free. Are you free or are you in prison? Sometimes people are already counting how many days are gone, how many days are left. Only how many more days to go now? Is it 3, 4, 5 days to go? Only 5 days to go, and then I'm out of here. Just like a prisoner waiting for parole. If you're really happy to be here, you haven't got a clue how many days to go. When it gets only 1 day to go, I don't want to go. I'm happy here. So that's why on these retreats we always like taking the group photo in the middle of the retreat. Because if you take the group photo at the end of the retreat, everybody is sad. If we do have a group photo at the end, I expect everyone to be crying. I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. But, what was the question? I forgot now, I was crying. Okay, well, whatever question it was is a memorable question. So the prison and being free, yeah. So any place you don't want to be, when you want to be somewhere else, that's called a prison. So even this beautiful 5-star meditation retreat, if you don't want to be here, but you're thinking of all the things you'll be doing outside, watching a movie, getting a dinner, whatever it is you think you can be doing, then this place becomes a prison for you. And how do you let go? How are you free? Being happy to be here. Whenever you're happy to be here, then you're free. And you don't need sort of a 5-star retreat. You don't need, waiter service and a big menu instead of just what's on the tables. You don't need room service. I know that sometimes people suggested that. Why can't we have room service so that Danny can come and serve you whenever you want, whenever you want? That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? No, this isn't a hotel. But it's good enough. And if you're happy to be here, then you always feel free. I always remember that. Sometimes I'm meditating, I feel tired, or you got a cold, or something's wrong. And if I want to be somewhere else, I'm in a prison, I suffer. But if I'm happy to be here with my cold, with my itchy nose, I'm happy to be here with tiredness. If I'm happy, then I'm free. When you want to be somewhere else, you're in a prison. When you want to be here, you're free. That's a great way of learning how to let go. If you want to be somewhere else, you're a delightful breath and you want nimittas. You've got a night blue nimitta, you want an orange one. Then, you're suffering. So just whatever you've got, just be happy, be content. Dear Ajahn, thank you for this wonderful retreat in paradise. Thank you to Superwoman Bianca and Superwoman Dania. Isn't that nice? Can you please explain the 5 kilesas and how they affect the meditation and ways to overcome? That's amazing. I only thought there were 3. There's been 2. Maybe they've had 2 babies since I last read them. The kilesas. That's greed, hatred, and delusion. There's only supposed to be 3 of them, not 5 of them. So is there 2 I didn't know about? Maybe they've grown. Eventually, maybe you've got 2 new ones which no one's ever had before. But whatever it is, it's only just 2. Greed, hatred, and delusion. And how they're overcome? Greed is just by letting go. What more do you want? It's amazing in our world. We all live in mansions these days. If you compare these great palaces which kings and emperors lived in, 300-400 years ago, and you go and see the houses people in Perth live in. The houses people in Perth live in today are bigger than the mansions of kings and emperors in the olden days. But we still want more. You can have entertainment at your fingertips on your big TV more than any other person, every rich person ever had in the history of the world. And you still want more. How much do you need to be happy? That's why greed, you never have enough. However much, what you have, you always want something more. That's called greed. And whenever you want something more, you can't enjoy what you already have. Billionaires can't enjoy their $1 billion because they want something more. So that's greed. And hatred. Do you hate your meditation? Do you hate your stupid mind? Stupid mind, I hate you. You never do the right thing. Whenever you're just about to get to meditation, you always just start thinking about stupid thoughts. Or you hate the other people in your cottage for banging the doors. You hate the person, you just become enlightened and they make a noise. So that's ill will, that's a defilement. That's how they affect the meditation. There's also stupidity. Stupidity like thinking you can use willpower to get enlightened. So those are the 3 kilesas. How they're overcome is by coming to Jhana Grove and listening to Ajahn Brahm and all the other great monks and nuns. Dear Ajahn Brahm, for meditation, the standing posture, what should be the object of meditation? Thank you. The Buddha said that's one of the 4 postures, but don't do that for too long, otherwise you'll fall over. I've seen people falling asleep sitting. So imagine what it's going to be like when you're standing. You start falling over, and when you hit your head, you go and sue us, and we can't afford that. So please, if you are doing the standing posture, please wear crash helmet and other protective clothing. Otherwise, we'll be in big trouble. So it's usually a very unpleasant posture to use, so I wouldn't really do that too much. I usually just keep to the walking, the sitting, and the lying down. Thanks for an amazing retreat. It ain't finished yet. I'm so grateful to all those that give dana and a bit amazed being from a non-Buddhist background. What is the best way of giving dana and giving in general? Please explain about the reflection, intention aspects, etc. We always say that whatever you do in life, as this is my teaching about Ajahn Chah, he always used to say that when you're sweeping, give it everything you've got. When you're meditating, give it everything you've got. When you're eating, give eating your whole attention. And when you're working, give working everything you've got. And when you're giving a donation, give it everything you've got. I tried that many times. It never, ever works. But no, the main thing I give, if you give expecting nothing back in return. That's the best. I once gave a talk once. Only one person has done this, and they are sitting here. I once said, look, if you're really going to be generous, how about give me a blank check? And I can fill in the amount. Are you got enough faith to do that? One guy did. He gave me this blank check. He said, you write whatever you want. You know what I wrote in there? 0. And I gave it back to him to keep as a keepsake. I just testing to see what people would do. So you try that. I may not write 0. Actually, I will write 0, but quite a few of them with the 1. There's a beautiful action done. Eat just whatever you want. There's not asking nothing back in return. That's giving, expecting nothing back in return. So that's one way. You can actually help nuns and monastery, which is building, or this centre, or whatever. Can the videos of this retreat be available as a DVD at the end of the retreat? It is difficult to download from YouTube, including the video of energetic chanting. Thank you. It's nothing to do with me, because I'm low tech. So you can ask, Brendan at the back there. Where's he gone? He's disappeared.
Can I mention something?
Yeah, go on.
They're all going to be on YouTube, and if you download a plugin on Firefox, you can download the videos or the audio. I'll put the instructions on the
Yeah, okay. So it can be done. Dear Ajahn, what should be the role of lay people regarding misbehaving monks? Oh my goodness, you found me out. No. Or misbehaving monks in Thailand. An abbot of a temple has sex with a woman on a regular basis. The monks of the temple also misbehave. All the villagers know about this, but continue to give support, including alms food. Recently, they give support to the Sangha yellow robes. I don't agree with this attitude. I think lay people should stop giving support to bad monks so as to get rid of them from the sasana. However, a monk said that good monks are rare. The villagers' attitude could be good because though these monks are bad, they keep the sasana going. Please share with us your insight on the wholesome role of the lay supporters regarding this issue. Oh my goodness, yeah, unfortunately there are some bad monks around in all countries, and they just give Buddhism a really bad name. So they're not supporting the Sangha. You know what happened in the Christian church, in the Catholic church. There was still sort of Catholic priests abusing boys and girls and all sorts of stuff. And that's given such a huge problem to the Catholic Church. May that never happen in the Buddhist Sangha. So if that happens, a monk who has sex has to disrobe straight away. They're not a monk anymore. So you're not supporting the Sangha, you are destroying it. So no, if a monk wants sex, then they should disrobe and just get married and just like everybody else. But when they're having sex, they're not keeping their precepts, and they're still accepting the food of the faithful. The Buddha said it's better that you you accept a red-hot ball of almost molten iron, or that you put your male organ in the mouth of a snake if you're a monk. The Buddha was actually quite fierce. When I read that, I thought, oh my goodness, I better not do anything wrong. The idea of putting my male organ in the mouth of... That almost happened once, you know. Not sex, I mean, but I was every moon day, you know, in a Wat Pa Pong or Wat Nana Cha, we always used to stay up all night meditating once a week. So we wouldn't sleep all day. And so it was early in the morning, you know, we just finished the last chanting to end the all-night meditation. And I went out into the forest to have a urinate. You don't go to the toilet, there's a big forest there, so you squat down Asian style and urinate in the forest. Remember, it was just dawn, the light was just still not really strong, and I was really tired, so my mindfulness was not that good because I'd been meditating all night. And so I squatted down, I really thought that I was urinating on a stick, until the stick started to wiggle. And I realized I just peed on a very venomous snake. And it was only a couple of inches, that's all, you know, from, you know, my most sensitive part of my body. And that's really dangerous. If I had been aware, I'd have sort of run away straight away, because I was so dull after meditating. I thought, oh, this is interesting. Really stupid. But I was very lucky, because it never bit me. It just, you know, it actually just stayed there to get some more, because I really thought, it must have assumed that's holy water from a great monk. You can't get more holy than that. So that's when I peed on a snake, and it never sort of bit me. So look, please, to protect the sasana, you know, that you have to tell those villagers that they're doing the wrong thing. The monks have to describe. You go and tell the head of the district, the Chaugana Emperor, the Chaugana Jangwat. These are the monks who have to investigate claims that people are misbehaving, and the monks have to disrobe. And once they disrobe, then they can go back, and if they want to marry that lady, fine, or to start a family, but they shouldn't do it as a monk. Because we're monks, that's what monks means. That's what nuns mean. That's what novices mean. No vice. Nuns, none of this, none of that. Thanks for an amazing retreat. Oh, that's already done that one. That's why I've done that one already. I'm going through them very quickly tonight. Dear Ajahn, why is there no April's Fool Day joke today? I just asked, because every evening I go down to monastery, and somebody called Ajahn Brahm this morning. Many of you know the guy, Eddie Koo. Eddie called Ajahn Brahm this morning to tell him there was an elephant in front of the monastery gate. It's an April Fool's joke. But Ajahn Brahm was smart enough, he knew what was going on, so he did go and look. An elephant in front of the monastery gate. That's Eddie Koo for you. It's very good, though. I'm very proud of Eddie for doing that. I'm interested to know the significance of the colour of robes worn by the Sangha. The significance is they're brown so we don't have to wash them so often. I can spill my tea on them, and it still doesn't show up. If you wear white clothes, you spill anything on it, and it stains. So brown is a brilliant colour. You know, and because you don't have to wash it so often, you do save a lot on water. And water is a very scarce commodity in our modern world, so we all have to learn how to save our resources and not use so much water. So you should all wear brown as well. It's the healthiest colour because it means you don't have to wash it, because most things you spill on your clothes is always brown stuff, isn't it? It's always brown stuff, you know, soups and curries. So this is a colour which doesn't show. So I think you should all start wearing brown dresses and brown skirts and brown trousers, and that way you don't have to use the washing machine so much. And even here, sometimes you have to queue up to use the laundry, and see some people using the laundry late at night after the talkie, you want to go to the laundry. If you wore brown robes or brown clothes, you wouldn't need to use the laundry so much. So we'd save water and you'd save a lot of time. So that's why we wear brown clothes. I just made that up. It's just because Most of the natural dyes are brown, that's all. That's the only reason why, they're brown. Ajahn, what is the meaning of sadhu? And Arthur says sadhu. Why does everything have to have a meaning? So if you want to find out the meaning of sadhu, first of all you get into the nimittas, then you get into the jhanas. And when the mind is really, really still and peaceful, then you will understand the hidden meaning of sadhu. Only the wise can really understand that meaning. It's been a long time, there's got plenty of time now, a long time since I told this story. There was this Australian guy, and he was going trekking in the Himalayas, not in Tibet, but in that place, I think Ladakh it's called. And he was trekking, with a party. It was an organized trek. And he was so busy taking photographs, he was lingering behind, and he actually got lost. He thought he would catch up, but he took a wrong path and got totally lost, alone, in the mountains of North India. And he tried to find his way back, and as he tried to find his way back, he got more and more disorientated. And it was becoming dark, and it was very dangerous, because they got these mountain bears and even lions in that area, which come out at night. But fortunately, he saw some lights in the distance. He went towards those lights. It was a monastery. And so when he said what had happened, he got lost, they let him in and gave him a bed for the night. But that evening, just about midnight, he was woken up by this ethereal sound. It was like music, but much better than any music you will hear in this world. It's one of these supernatural things. And it was so thrilling, so enjoyable, that he just lay in bed there listening to it until he went into a really, really deep sleep, very peaceful. When he woke up in the morning, he said goodbye to the abbot, who supplied him with a guide to take him back to civilization, and gave him a breakfast. And he thanked the guide, and he said, by the way, in the middle of the night, I heard this amazing music. It was like supernatural. It's the best I've ever heard in my whole life. What was it? And the abbot said, I'm sorry, sir. I can't tell you that secret. Only monks can know that secret of what made that noise. And so the Australian guy got out his wallet. Okay, how much? $100, $200. Let me know. And the guy said, look, I don't care how much money you offer. I cannot tell you. That is a strict secret. Only monks can know the origin of that amazing sound. And no matter how hard that Australian bargained, the abbot wouldn't give in. So he had to leave and go back. And when he came home to Australia, he just couldn't get that music out of his head. It's the most amazing thing he'd ever heard. It was like supernatural, unearthly. So to try and get it out of his head, he ended up going to see a psychologist. And the psychologist put him in all sorts of therapy. By the end of the year, he still couldn't. He was obsessed with finding out what this music was. So the only thing he could do, he went back to Ladakh, found that monastery, and found the abbot and said, look, I'm going crazy. I have to know what that sound is. And the abbot said, look, I told you, sir, only monks can know that secret. And the Australian said, yes, so make me a monk. And the abbot said, look, it takes a couple of years of training before you can become a monk, like in our monastery. You can't just rock up and say, make me a monk. You have to have 1 year as an anagarika, that's wearing white, and 1 year as a novice, and then you can become a monk. And the abbot said, is that what you want? And he said, yes, I have to. I'm going mad otherwise, so make me a monk. So he made him a monk in very strict training for 2 years. And when his ordination day came, as soon as he became ordained as a monk, he went to the abbot and said, right, I'm a monk. What was that sound? And the abbot said, look, I can do much better than telling you. I'll show you. You're a monk now, you can know. So come to my room just before midnight. So the man came to the room just before midnight. He'd been waiting for this for 3 years. And just before midnight, the abbot just opened a curtain, and behind that was this very old wooden door. Hadn't been opened maybe in decades. And the abbot took out a set of keys. And the first key was this wooden key, old key. And he put it in the door, and it creaked open. And just after it creaked open, the chimes of midnight were heard. And as soon as the chimes had finished, the music started. And now he was much closer to it. And it was even more beautiful than he could remember. It just sent goosebumps up and down his spine. And they walked down this very dimly lit corridor to an iron door. And then the abbot took another key, which was the iron key, to open the iron door, which is incredibly heavy. This was almost like top security. And as they opened the iron door, of course, you could hear the music even more clearly. And he was like trembling with joy and ecstasy. This was not ordinary music. This was just goes right inside of you and almost makes you cry. And they walked down the corridor. There was another door. And that was made of solid silver, just worth a fortune. And as the abbot got the third key, which was obviously a silver key, he opened that silver door. And the Australian could see there was only one door left at the end, which was the gold door, encrusted with precious jewels. This had been a very deeply held secret for so many centuries in this ancient monastery. As they got to the golden door encrusted with jewels, the abbot had to stop. He turned around to the Australian man and said, "Do you really want to know what's on the other side of this door? Because, this is something supernatural. And sometimes, people go mad seeing what's on the other side. Are you ready for it?" And the abbot was being serious, so the Australian stopped and considered. He said, "Look, I'll be crazy if I don't know. I had to go to psychologists and therapists. The only thing I can do is to see it. Please open the door." So the abbot took out the last key, which was a golden key, and he opened the door. And when he opened the door, the Australian could see it. It's incredible. It was amazing. You know what it was? I can't tell you because you're not monks. That's your April Fool joke. Okay. Only monks could tell that joke. But it gets people every time. Okay, the last one. Can we use meditation to replace sleep at night? Yes, I see many of you meditating and you go fall fast asleep when you're meditating. Now, if you really meditate very properly and very deeply, of course you get so peaceful and so still. You don't need to sleep at night. The whole purpose of sleep is to rest your brain. When your brain has been resting all day, of course it doesn't need any sleep. If your car hasn't been out of the garage, it doesn't need any gas. So this is what happens at times when you really meditate and get very, very peaceful, very sleep. You just very still. You don't need to sleep at night. What happens usually is you go to bed, you lay down, but you don't fall asleep. You just rest the body. Totally mindful, totally aware, maybe 3 or 4 hours, then you get up and carry on meditating all the time, perfectly aware, perfectly peaceful. And you never feel any bad side effects because of that. It's just, you're just peaceful, happy, lots of energy. So you don't need to sleep. So it's not like you're forcing yourself, it's just what happens naturally. That is why that when I mentioned about in Thailand we used to stay up all night meditating, that when I became abbot here, I totally stopped that. The reason was because all it taught you was to force the brain to meditate. And people got really, really tired. It took a couple of days to recover after that. And these days I tell the monks to practice myself, if you really get hot in meditation, going very peaceful, if it's natural, yes, stay up all night, stay up all day, whatever. But don't force it. Don't say, I'm going to stay up all night. Usually what happens, you start meditating, having a great time, everything's nice and peaceful, you just carry on, and before you know it, it's dawn. That's the natural way. So don't force it. And you don't need to sleep. So it's not that you go without sleep as an act of will, torturing yourself, you just don't need to. And you're perfectly healthy, perfectly happy. So if that ever happens to you, you're in this retreat, you really get into some nice meditation, you get very energized. It might happen, you just go to bed at night, you just can't sleep, you don't want to sleep, you don't have to sleep. If you really need to sleep, the body will tell you, and you'll go fast asleep. If it doesn't need it, you'll stay awake. but still go to bed, still lay down because your body needs a rest. So that's usually what happens. Meditation, yeah, it can replace sleep at night as long as it's natural. But don't think that I'm going to meditate instead of sleeping and force the issue. That's amazing. I got rid of all these questions. Some I just disposed of very quickly, like the meaning of sadhu. But actually, sadhu means it's good, that's all. Sadhu is the same as the Cantonese word for very good, which is, remember? Ho, ho, ho. Yes. So maybe we can do that instead of sadhus. Do the 3 ho's. Ho, ho, ho. Are you ready? Ho! 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 Okay, that means very good in Cantonese. So that's it for this evening. So all those questions I did very quickly, maybe too quickly. It's only about 7 minutes to 9. So those of you who want an early night, you're 7 minutes earlier. So have a great night. See you in the morning. Very good. That's it. That's it, folks.